geeks, and welcome back to Running Geek Girl. My name is Heather and I'm glad you're here today. It's time for another monthly roundup. If you are new here, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the running content I have coming out all the time. The monthly roundup is where I take a look back at the month that has just gone past. We take a look at what has gone on as far as training, what have I done as far as races and new medals, what's coming up on my racing calendar, and what's going to be coming up on the channel, as well as a quick look at any new gear or equipment that I may have tried out in the last month. So we're going to start like we always do with a look back at training, and here we go. So here we are. First week of June is behind me. I am finishing off my weekend with a nice hour and a half out here on the trails. So far, first week has been strong. I've been keeping up with all the strength training that I've been meaning to do, so a little bit sore. I'm trying to keep runs and workouts and everything under control, but any hope that I had of a somewhat easy summer was dashed when I remembered that I have two kids that have to be different places at different times. So I am trying to hold it all together as best I can, but first week, not too shabby. Let's see where we are in a week. And we are back. Another week has gone by. Just been kind of a steady week as far as training goes and everything, except for the strength training. I am finding it hard to fit stuff in. I'm trying to get things ready for vacation, as well as getting my kids around to summer activities and so on. So I'm finding myself a little bit stretched for time sometimes. So I have to just get maybe 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there just so I get something in, but you know, not a fully dedicated workout like I would like. So hoping eventually things will slow down enough. If not, they'll slow down around the time the school year starts. So there is that hope ahead, but you know, just keeping it all together, trying to keep things ready to go, spending the week doing last minute preparation before I go on vacation, and then we'll just kind of see how things go. I probably will not do one of these updates while I'm on vacation. I may do a dedicated video just for vacation. I don't know, I haven't figured it out yet, but I will catch up with you in a little while, either on vacation or just after. So see you later. And we are back from vacation. If you would like to know a little bit about how I pulled off training while on vacation, I'm going to have a video up here so that you can check that out for yourself. I put together a little vacation vlog with the spots that I like to go running. But yeah, looking back at how everything went, I, long story short, shifted my long run to the day before I had to travel, and just kind of kept things to short, minimal runs and run walks while on vacation, just to kind of keep myself moving but not wear myself out. And once I got back, did 2 long run days in a row, and now I am back on my regular routine and just getting back into strength training, since I took a week off from that just to kind of give myself more time with family so I wouldn't have to worry about that. So looking for the last few days of the month here, it's mostly about just maintain, and make sure that I can stay on track. I do have a little bit more travel coming up next month, but I do have some other race announcements that should be coming up soon. So make sure that you stay tuned to the channel for that. Other than that, I don't know, just kind of feels like an okay month. I feel like I did okay keeping everything together in the midst of usual summer chaos. So just to kind of wrap things up and give you a little bit more about my insight into this month's training, we'll take it back inside. And there you have it, just a quick look back at what has gone on in training for the past month. As you can see, this has mostly been kind of a maintenance phase. I'm trying to build a little bit of strength so that I can do things just a little bit more strongly, as I do have some half marathons coming up. I do have my 50K challenge coming up that's going on over 24 hours. So I have a few things that I need to be prepared for. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes when we talk about some of the upcoming races that I have. So I've been trying to focus a little more on strength, a little more on uphills. I'm being a little more consistent with my strength training. As you saw, I did take a week off of strength training just so I could focus on family time and just enjoy my vacation. So there was that. But I am starting to get that back more into my schedule. It's really been paying off. If you have been second guessing yourself as to whether you actually need strength training as a runner, I'm here to tell you that it really does help a lot. Just a little bit of extra strength in my core has gone a long way in helping me tackle a lot of distances. Now, overall, as far as training is going, and it's just kind of frustrating being in a maintenance phase and that I feel like I'm not really gaining a whole lot. And taking a look back at my mileage this year as compared to the past 2 years before, my mileage is definitely a lot lower this year than it has been in years past. And that's because I've spent the last couple of years just trying to build up to a point where I could do a marathon. And so getting a lot of miles under my belt was, just really essential to the equation. And since I have switched over to kind of more of an ultra type of training, it's all about more time on feet as opposed to miles accumulated, which just feels a little frustrating to me because I think a lot of the training plans that focus on time on feet are designed for people that can cover miles a lot more quickly than I can. I am not a fast runner. I probably never will be a very fast runner. I'm a very mid-pack type of runner at best. And I just can't cover a lot of miles in a short amount of time. And so a lot of times when it's telling me to go out for a couple of hours, it's kind of leaning towards assuming that I'm covering, somewhere around 10 miles in a couple of hours when honestly, I just can't go quite that fast, especially in a trail scenario. So I'm thinking about kind of looking at what they're thinking I can accomplish mile-wise during a certain period of time and just trying to lean a little more towards getting miles in as opposed to shortening runs to only be about 2 hours long or so. If they're expecting me to do, 12 miles in 2 hours, then I will try to get closer to that mileage, even if it takes me longer than the 2 hours, just because I really feel like I'm kind of doing myself a disservice and not trying to get the mileage in. And so I'm finding myself a little bit underprepared. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Have you struggled with something like that? Why don't you let me know down in the comments below, because it's been kind of a frustrating thing for the past few months in that I'm just not getting the mileage in that I used to. And that's just because I can't do it quickly. I'm not a fast runner. And it's just, I know, it's kind of a sticking point for me right now. Moving on from training to races, there were no IRL races this month because, again, like I said, I am in more of a maintenance phase as opposed to a racing phase right now. There's not a whole lot of races available in this area right now, and it's probably a good thing because we have been having just these massively hot temperatures, heat index around, 122. And so it's just been, it's been tough trying to get outside and get heat acclimated. I've been doing it as best I can, trying to keep it to short runs. If I'm doing longer runs where I know I'm going to be running for, 2 or 3 hours, then I usually bring that into the treadmill just because taking it outside when it's this hot is just, it's not going to be safe for me at all. So I've been trying to keep a lot of that in mind. I do have some races that are coming up in August. Just as a reminder, the first weekend of August, I have the Death by 5K in Little Rock, and that is a 5K every 2.5 hours for 24 hours for a total of 50K. And I am lucky that I registered when I did because I did get an email the other day that the race is, I think, about 5 people left from completely selling out. They were trying to keep the numbers low since this is their first time holding this particular event in Little Rock. And I believe they're holding it in 2 other cities, but I'll do a little more information about that when I do my race report. So I do have that coming up. I'm trying to kind of wrap my mind around just doing multiple 5Ks, but then I do have a rest period in between, which could be good, it could be bad. I do have refueling and cooling down time in between, so that may be useful. So I'm looking forward to seeing how all that pans out. The next weekend, I'm going to be running a trail race. It was the first trail race that I ran last year, the Scorchin Squirrel. Again, that is in Little Rock. And I will be doing the 11.5 mile option again. Since this is only a week after the 50K, this should be interesting to see how well I have recovered since then. And I do have the option of, if I am just not feeling that day, I can drop down to the 10K option. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. It is on a Jeep trail, which if you are not familiar with that, it's a somewhat technical trail, but it's definitely wider than a single track trail because it's big enough to get a Jeep through. But you do have a lot of rocks, a lot of hills. It can be kind of tricky getting up and down some of those hills. I remember my quads were just thrashed after the last time that I ran it. And there is a monster hill. You go right way downhill at the beginning, and then you have to climb practically straight up at the end of the race when you've got about a mile left to go. So that right there is the challenge. That hill has taken out a whole lot of people. It's a big challenge for everyone. I've talked to people that have run that race, and they have run ultras all over the state, and they say they have never had to tackle a hill quite like that. So that's going to be the big challenge for that one, is trying to see how I do in that when I'm only a week out from my 50K. So we'll see how that goes. And then of course I do have my other races coming up, like the Route 66 half marathon. That's going to be in Tulsa, and that is in November. And then I have a few other races that are on the burner right now, and I will do some race announcements for those coming up pretty soon. Looking at new gear and equipment, I am kind of sticking with the status quo right now, with the exception of this right here, and this is the biolite 200 lumens headlamp. It is super light. It's got this sweat wicking band. It's got several different modes on it. It's got red light. It has a low beam, high beam, red strobe, and white strobe. You can adjust the angle of it with one hand. You can lock it so that it doesn't wear down your battery. It is rechargeable. And I have gotten the opportunity to use this on one night run. Very comfortable, and the beam is a lot more powerful than you would expect it to be at 200 lumens. So I'm enjoying using it so far, and I'm going to be putting the battery life to the test when I use this for my Death by 5K. So make sure that you are sticking to the channel so that you can see how this worked out for me, because I'll be doing a full review of it. I did my first impressions in a video that you can see up here. I'll be doing a full review of it after I've had a chance to use it on an overnight race. Looking ahead at what's going to be coming up over the next month on the channel, there is going to be another episode of Run the USA. Our next state is going to be Iowa. So if you have run any races in Iowa, I also have one coming out about Kansas. So if you have run any races in Kansas or know of any races that I should know about, please leave them down in the comments below, or just stay tuned if you would like to watch the series. It's always a fun one. We take a look at the most highly recommended races in every state as recommended by runners just like you. I also have a little bit of geekery coming up, because this wouldn't be the Running Geek Girl channel without a little bit of it. I am doing my regular summer theater that I do, like I've been doing every year for many, many years now. And I will be giving you a backstage tour, kind of showing you my costume, my process for getting ready, kind of showing you what it looks like behind the scenes of a theater show. In addition to that, I do have a couple of things coming up. Somebody suggested to me, and I'm going to run with the suggestion of what kind of gear can you find on the cheap if you are just looking for something in a pinch, something to get started with. And so we're going to be taking a look at a couple of discount type stores and look at the type of things that you might want to grab. Again, like if you are in an unfamiliar space and you just need to grab something really quickly, or maybe you're just wanting to try something out. You may find a couple of bargains and a couple of deals. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be taking a look at running on the cheap. And finally, just a reminder that every single month I do have a new Spotify playlist that works around some sort of a theme, or is picked out by a different curator. And I do have a July one that is out now. Link is in the description down below. You'll also find right next to it a link to the mega list for all of 2022. That is everything that has been chosen so far, all the lists chosen so far, put together in one mega list. So if you're looking for a nice short playlist to listen to around a theme, maybe while you're doing a 4th of July run, or maybe just a quick workout this month, you've got something to listen to. Or if you need something a little bit longer, then you have a whole bunch of different tracks to listen to. We also have linked down below the Welcome to the Geek Den playlist, and those are all tracks that are suggested by runners just like you. If you have a track that you would like to suggest for that playlist, then make sure that you leave them down below, and I will make sure that those get added. But that wraps things up for the month of June. It has been Kind of an interesting month. It's been super busy. It's been super hectic, and I've been trying to keep everything together. I really feel like I'm maintaining, and that's what's important. That's what counts. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the month of July brings. If you have enjoyed this look into my month, why don't you let me know in the comments down below, or by giving this video a big thumbs up. Both of those do get this in front of more runners just like you who may want to run the Geek Den. You can also follow me on social media. All the links are down in the description. You can find me across all platforms under the name Running Geek Girl. Thanks so much for being here for another month. I'm so glad that you could be here, and I can't wait to see you next time. Remember to laugh hard, run fast, and be kind. See you guys later.